Welcome to Real Talk Real Women. My name is Miriam Khalladi, and today we have national figure athlete, personal trainer, competition posing prep coach, and fitness spokesperson Steely Springham on the show. Welcome, Steely. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you very much. I'm well. A little sleepy, but well.
Thank you so much for your time.
I appreciate it, and I'm really happy to be a part of such a great forum for women.
You're most welcome. Thank you so much. You are a very artistic woman and have been part of the music industry for over 10 years. Tell me a little bit about that.
I moved to Los Angeles in '97, and I've always been a writer. I didn't feel that I was very good at it, but apparently somebody did. And I fell into an opportunity where I was given the chance to sing some of my songs. And then, as they say, the rest is history. So, yeah, it's an interesting journey.
Very cool. As a child, you were always competing in sports with the boys. Were you always athletic?
I was. I don't know that I was very good at it, as I tended to take on a lot of things that I didn't necessarily naturally have the ability to do. But I definitely enjoyed sports, and my dad always encouraged me to watch sports on TV. And I remember being quite young and him telling me, well, you better learn about sports, because when you start talking to boys, what else are you going to talk about? Makeup and shopping? so I paid attention, and but yeah, at the time, which I might be dating myself, but there really wasn't an opportunity for females to play unless it was on a boys' team. So I kind of got beat up a little bit, but you certainly learn a lot, and your skin gets thick from doing that.
At some point in life, you battled with self-esteem and body image issues that resulted in food addiction and weight battle. Can you explain how the two are connected?
Yeah, they're deeply connected, and a lot of people don't necessarily recognize something called food addiction, but we all have our things. Some people turn to alcohol, some people turn to drugs. I don't know why my choice was food, but there was a very comforting feeling about it, and it was emotional eating. And the more I've been able to be open about this problem that I had, and I was very reluctant to admit to anybody because it just seemed so ridiculous. But the more that I have talked about it, the more women have said, oh my God, I do that. You get it. You understand. And I do. It was always associated with the number on a scale. And of course, outside influences or people's opinions that I thought mattered, which really didn't. And, teasing as you grow up, I was always called Thunder Thighs. And at the time, it was devastating for me. Especially at a time when I was starting to get interested in boys, and I'm playing on boys' teams to try and get their attention. And what it was is they respected the fact that I was out there playing. Some of them didn't, but generally speaking, they were all making fun of how big my legs were and how little my upper body was. And who knew that, like, decades later, that my strong quads would be one of my winning assets up on stage. So the irony is interesting. But back to the food addiction, it goes hand in hand with self-esteem. I didn't feel good about myself, and therefore I needed comfort. And food for me was comfort. And it didn't necessarily have to be bad food. There was no point of being satiated. I would just keep shoveling. The more distressed I was in here, the more this idea was escapism for me. And it was. I remember confiding in a friend, a male friend actually, at one time, saying, I think I have a problem and I don't know what to do about it. And I was very upset, and he laughed at me and he goes, are you crazy? Like, just stop eating. And that's the problem with food addiction. And by no stretch of the imagination am I suggesting that a drug addiction or alcoholism is easy. It's not. But theoretically, if you remove that from the equation, get help, detox, all of that stuff, and just never have it again, you can go about your life, and not saying that you don't think about it every day, but you have to eat every day. You cannot not eat. And so therein lies the battle of punishment or reward, which that in our industry really needs to be removed. And we need to start looking at food as fuel. You fuel your body with the nutrients that it needs in order for it to function optimally. And that's what I started to do. And it's worked, and it served me well. Now I have, a cheat meal, or I don't even like calling it a cheat meal. Every just once in a while, I'm like, my body needs some stuff, and I'll have it. And then I just go, wow, I'm really not missing what I thought I was missing. So, but yeah, they definitely tie in hand, for sure.
You overcame those challenges several years ago. You wrote about how it's not about just about the physical body, but also about the soul and mind. What can you tell us about that?
I sort of explain it like it's a triangle. You have your training, you have your nutrition. I'm really working towards not using the word dieting, because there's so much negativity attached to that word. It should be food is fuel for your body. So your fuel plan or your nutrition plan, and you can have those two working. But what I found was there were three sort of major times in my life where I put those two into effect, and I was very diligent. I lost weight, I gained muscle, or a little bit at that time anyway, and I was feeling really great about myself, sort of. And yet when it came time to going on a date or getting ready for an event, I would panic in the mirror, and I would find every flaw, and I'd go right to the fridge. And it would be emotional eating to try and calm myself down. In doing so, several years later, or I suppose at that time, within a short period of time, I would start to balloon back up again, and then go back to the gym and work diligently, and eat the right foods because the magazine said, and I should be a certain weight, a certain number. And this was a vicious cycle, and I went back and forth with all of this. I could lose 35 to 40 pounds in just a matter of weeks. And then weeks later, have it all back and more back on. So this went on for years. And then I realized it's right here. If I don't change this and strengthen the mind, then my body will always be yo-yoing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it wouldn't matter what I'm eating or not eating or training or not training. And you ask any professional athlete or look at any sports team, and they're very much into focus and positive mental talk. And so that's where I focus now with my clients. I've certainly done it for myself. And it's a really important component if you don't have all three, making that triangle work together. You can't have one without the other. I guess there's the old saying, you're only as strong as your weakest link. If your mental strength is not there, your confidence won't be there, and then you undermine all your hard work.
And you seem to have an inner urge to strive for more in life. Not everyone is stepping into their potential that way. Some people just accept things as they are and don't strive to improve. What is your opinion there? Should everyone strive for more?
I would love to see everyone strive for more. And yes, I think everybody should. However, everybody has a journey, and everybody has their path that they must go through in order to learn and gain their tools in order to be prepared for the next thing. I think if people, women especially, instead of worrying about what the magazines say or what other people think, or comparing their journey to someone else's journey, which might be at a completely different point in their journey, and I'm guilty of it. You look at someone with their end result and go, oh, gee, wow, I'd love to look like that or be that or do that, but I don't have, or I don't, I'm not this, I'm not that. I suffered from the never good enough syndrome. It was never enough. And in that comparison, you lose yourself. You have to accept yourself where you are at the time and utilize what you have at the time and concentrate on what you do have. And that is choice. And if you focus on the choice, that you can change your life if you want to. No one says it's going to be easy, but it's doable in every situation. You start to feel that sort of fire of, yeah, I want a little more. I'm not sure how to get it, but I'm going to at least make the decision. And if you make the decision, then things start to fall into place to make that happen. Once that happens and you start to get a taste of, I'm a little happier, I'm a little stronger, I'm a little better, I want more, I want more. And you find that you're drawn to the passion of the things that you like and love. And when you do that, the rest it just unfolds. And that's pretty much what's happened for me. I knew that, I guess the best way to explain it, when I was doing music, I don't know that I thought I was very good at it. I just had been given an opportunity, and those don't come along in that capacity for a whole lot of people very often. So I jumped at the chance and second guessed myself every step of the way. There wasn't a time that I was up there singing that I felt really confident about it. I did feel confident about my writing, but I was very shy about it. When that journey was happening, something in me knew that I was going to inspire people. And I did think it was through my music and through my lyrics. And I never would have dreamt that I am now inspiring people with working out and competing, which is just an avenue of being able to be an example to women, young girls, that age doesn't matter. And once you put your mind to something and go full throttle with it, led by self-love and self-esteem and self-confidence, and your confidence is a muscle. I wanted to say that earlier and I forgot, but just like you work out your muscles, you have to work your confidence and build it. That's why they say build your confidence. If you're working at it daily, it comes. And with all of that, you do start to see that I can make a difference. If it's just one person, that is a difference. So
amazing. And then once you started working with a trainer, that same inner urge pushed you all the way to competing and becoming a champion. What drove you to compete in figure competitions, and what are your ambitions there?
When I was in the music business, I always leaned or turned to working out, boot camps, to relieve a lot of the stress. It was a very stressful time in my life. And it was the one place that I felt at home at, believe it or not. And the people that I was attending boot camp with were very supportive and understanding of the stresses of the music business at that time. And at the time, I did not know anything about figure competitions, or I didn't know about any of it. I only knew of female bodybuilding because of a very dear friend of mine, Sharon Bruneau, who is an IFBB pro. Wonderful woman, and she was way ahead of her time in terms of her physique. She was what figure and physique is now. But back then there was just female bodybuilding. There was no other options for women. So kudos to those ladies. Whether you like female bodybuilding or not, they paved the way for all of us bikini figure fitness and physique competitors to be doing what we do today. I constantly talk about that sport, female bodybuilding, because they really did. They're pioneers for us. And I have a lot of respect for what they do and what they've done. As I said, I didn't really know anything about the competing. After I was decided to step away from music, I returned to Vancouver from Los Angeles and literally stumbled upon a trainer. And I started doing a boot camp with him, and it was more just to relieve the stress of coming back here and not knowing what I was going to do with my life. And incidentally, I should say that while I was pursuing music for 12 years, twice I studied to get my personal training certification in the downtimes when I wasn't touring and there was no music happening, and I was really struggling with what am I going to do for work, and while I'm waiting for the big opportunity. And then each time I studied for it, I would get halfway or 3/4 of the way through the course, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, Steely, we're back in the studio, we're touring, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I've got to stop focusing on my plan B, otherwise my plan A will never happen, which was the music at the time. So I never, although I learned a lot, I never got that piece of paper. And then at some point, I was getting into, I guess, a bit better shape, and people were actually approaching me, hey, would you train me? Could you do a program for me? So I started to do that as a way of earning money on the side while I was doing music. And it was really ironic that, I was having, top 20 singles on the radio, and between scrubbing toilets and training people, that's actually how I made my money. So here we are, years later, returning to Vancouver, stumbled upon a personal trainer, joined a boot camp, and I was the only person showing up for the boot camp. So it was more like a one-on-one. And when I initially spoke with him, I said I would like to do a 16-week program as if I was a bodybuilder, but I don't want to be a bodybuilder. And, he said to me, do you have any idea how challenging that is and what it takes? And I said, yeah, my really good friend is a bodybuilder. I know. And so he invited me to a local show here in Vancouver. And I went to watch. And at the end of it, he asked me, so what do you think? And I said, well, those girls in the middle, those figure girls, that's what I want to try and do. I want to try and look like that. And he said to me, well, first of all, there's no trying, there's just doing. Second of all, he said, Steely, I don't think you realize you're naturally blessed with some symmetry that a lot of girls don't have. You're a lot closer than you realize. And if you're willing to go there, I'm willing to take you there. I'm willing to train you to do that. And the rest, as they say, is history. And 5.5 months later, I stepped on the first stage and came in second place and qualified for our provincials. And in total, I've done 10 competitions. I'm going into my 4th year right now. And I've done 3 different federations, and then decided that which federation I wanted to be a part of, which is the one I'm currently in now. Yeah. And it's the CBBF, which feeds into the IFBB Pro Circuit. And I want to, take it as far as this, as it'll go, or ride the wave as far as the wave will take me. I love what I do. It fits my lifestyle. It certainly structures the food intake for me. It wasn't the answer as far as the food addiction. That still had to be worked on up here, but it definitely, the structure really works for me. And I love it. I love what the sport can offer for women, and giving them the fire, the passion, and the opportunity to learn that, yes, you can. And it really is just a decision to go forward and change your life. And I believe you asked me earlier about the mind-body connection. And what's great about this sport is that you can pick things up and put things down in a gym. Everybody does it. And they don't necessarily change. But if you are connecting the mind to the muscle, and the will to the drive, you not only change physically, but you change emotionally and mentally. And in that is such a release of empowerment for a woman. And I encourage every woman, not necessarily to step on stage and compete, although that's a great experience, but to go through the process, if you will, of digging deep and finding out what you're made of, because that's what this does. And it's watching my clients transform and become so confident, not just on stage, but off stage, in the competition prep that confidence coaching that I do in the stage posing. These women blossom before my eyes, and it's like watching a little child all of a sudden become, graduating and going out into the real world and realizing I'm unstoppable if I decide I am.
For those who haven't heard about you yet, probably have no clue that you are in your 40s and still growing and competing. That's amazing. What are your thoughts on age when it comes to fitness and in life general?
Well, age does not matter. Yeah, if you would have asked me 5 years ago, would I be standing on stage in a bikini with muscles? I would have, yeah, in my dreams would have been my response. And I think that's what's really glorious about this journey that I've been blessed to have, is that I'll be 46 next June, and I'm stepping on stage, and most people don't know my age or think I'm in my 30s, and which is it's partly genetics, but it really is a mindset. If you tell yourself you can't, if you tell yourself I'm too old, it's the negative chatter, then that will prevail. I've always felt that even though my insecurities I was riddled with them, I just knew inside that there was something more that I was to do. And when I got out of my own way, things just started to unfold. It's really important for every woman, every female, no matter what her age is, it's just a number. I had a conversation with a woman once when I was demoing for a company, and she saw my shoulders and my arms and asked, a little bit about what I did. And I said, I just been competing, and she's like, oh, how long have you been doing it? And I said, going into my second year. And she's like, oh, one day I thought maybe I might want to do that, but I'm too old now. And we got to talking, and I said, well, actually, I stepped on stage at 42, and I was in open age category. So that was, girls 20s and 30s and whatever the age was, there was no limit there. She proceeded to tell me that she got married in college to her high school sweetheart, and they both went to university together, or college, I guess. And he said to her in her second year that, you should quit school because your degree is nothing and you're really not going to amount to anything. So you should just be at home. We're going to have kids. And that's ultimately what she did. And then years later, he left her once the kids were grown up and graduated, and he left her for a younger woman. And here she was without her degree, without feeling a sense of purpose. And she cried, and she told me this story, and I was heartbroken for her. And I told her, I said, well, so go get your degree. Like, what's stopping you? What else are you doing right now? I subsequently ran into her. I want to say it was 8 months later, maybe a year later. She recognized me, and she came up to me, and she gave me this big hug in a grocery store, and I had no idea who this strange lady was. And she said, sorry, I get choked up when I tell the story, because, when you realize that you have the ability by the choices that you make to affect other people, and every choice you make does affect other people. She said to me, thank you, because of your story, because of you sharing with me what you did. I went back to university. I'm in university right now, and I'm getting my degree. It was like, it's amazing. It was powerful. And every woman has the opportunity, every girl, young woman has the opportunity to completely transform their life if they just decide to do so. And that's all it is, a decision, and then go for it.
I agree. That's a great story.
Mm-hmm.
And now you've also been working with a coach. Do you feel that has been important for your career? And what have been some of the key benefits?
I think having a great support system is extremely important. We all have our less than strong days, and whether it's a coach or whether it's like-minded people that you surround yourself with, again, there's a lot of cliches out there, but they're powerful, and you're only as great as those you surround yourself with. So if the people that you allow in your circle, and it should be very selective, I feel, are there building you and you are building them, it's a feed and be fed relationship, then you're going to do nothing but succeed. And triumph, and maybe they're just little successes, but each little success is building you to the next success, preparing you for the next great thing. And sometimes those great things are little. I would not be where I'm at right now without my coaches, and the support system that I have. It's been, mentally challenging at times. Sometimes it's been me getting in my own way, and I've had someone sort of tap me on the shoulder and remind me that, you can do this. And then eventually you become your own coach. And I find that if I'm having low days or down days, and I have them, I don't necessarily publicly talk about them on Facebook or tweet them or whatever. But my close friends know when I'm going through something, and they're very supportive of me. But I find that for me, with having set up and now doing the confidence coaching for other competitors, the things that I tell them, the things that I share with them to help build them up is like a reminder for me. And watching them grow and blossom inspires me. In turn, I can then inspire others. And it's a feed and be fed, cycle, and it's a beautiful thing. And it should be that way, no matter what area in your life you're pursuing. Being truthful to yourself on how you feel, always speak positively, and then be very selective in who you choose to allow in, and build, and keep building stronger.
You've also talked about the difference between motivation and inspiration. I find that super interesting. Can you explain how the two are different?
This is just my opinion, but someone asked me a long time ago, I forget exactly the premise of the question, but it was something to do with, how do you feel about being a motivator? And I said I'm not a motivator, and I actually really don't care for that word very much. Just to me, motivating is making somebody do something they don't want to do. When you have to motivate somebody, what I want to do, hope to do, I hope I do, is inspire people, and I want to be inspired. I don't want to be motivated. Again, motivating is making someone do something they don't want to do. When you inspire someone, that's the fire that gets lit in them, and then they want to do it. When they're inspired to do something, it's insatiable. They want it. That's the difference for me. And so I catch myself every once in a while, just because that word motivating or motivator, motivation, is so quickly used, and kind of like tossed. It's a word that's being tossed around a lot, whereas inspiration really is digging deep. It's a deeper level, I feel. So I would prefer to be inspired and to inspire others. I really don't care to motivate or make someone do something they don't want to do.
I always like to talk to my guests about giving back, and I'm always inspired to see how much effort they put in trying to make a difference in the lives of others. Tell me about your mantras, lift to lift and empower to empower, and how you try to give back.
Empower to empower and lift to lift was sort of a catchphrase, if you will. I was trying to come up with, like my branding and that sort of thing, and everybody has like a mantra statement or what do you call it? A mission statement, I guess it is. And I thought, well, what is it that I do? What is it that I want, and what is it that I do that are all combined? And I'm fully aware that my journey has led me to become empowered, and I've had many women either come up to me in the gym or contact me on Facebook and email and Twitter and all of those forums, and say to me, I've been following you for 2 years, and because of you, I'm doing this, or I was too afraid to do that, but I watched you and you did it, so I'm going to do this in my life. And I realized that because I became empowered, I am now able to help empower. And that's where empower to empower came to be. And then the lift to lift is both figurative and literal, in that I literally lift, and it's helped lift other women, whether they care to have muscles or not. It's more of the principle and the energy behind that you can do anything you set your mind to. If it's for me, lifting or getting into better shape, and I have plenty of clients who've done that. I've lifted to lift them. Or the woman I used as the example, who my lifting lifted her to elevate her life by going back to school. So there's a real movement that I'm working on, and now creating and instilling with the Lift to Lift program and Empower to Empower. So I definitely don't always necessarily intend to give back to every person, but again, it goes back to that feed and be fed. Conversations happen, and I've gotten lots of hugs as of late in the last 6 months from people who just go, I could talk to you all day long, and you're real inspiration to me. And then all of a sudden I go, yes, thank you to that person, but to my journey, because then I realize I'm right where I'm supposed to be, doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And I want to continue to do it and work with women like you who are lifting other women and empowering other women as we become empowered, because what you're doing, Miriam, is a really, really great thing. And I'm super happy to be a part of this on a small scale or on a grander scale, but it's bringing that female camaraderie together, and that female empowerment, not in a negative way against anyone else, but we as women need to embrace each other and lift each other instead of working against each other.
Thank you so much. Where can people go to learn more about you and connect with you online?
I have my website, steely.ca. It is getting updated right now. And as well, I'm on Facebook and Instagram under Steely Springham. And I've just recently, they've done a little feature on me in the Training and Fitness magazine online. And there's a couple of other things that are coming up in the new year that I'm not quite at liberty to speak about. But perhaps if you and I are chatting again in the future, I will have it all the ducks in a row, and we'll be able to chat openly about it. But definitely, Google my name, Steely Springham, and a lot of stuff comes up. So
great. And I will make sure to put your links below this video.
Okay, great. Yeah. Thank you.
Is there anything else you feel we've missed that you would like to touch upon?
No. I think this has been really great. Again, what you're doing, Miriam, keep it up. The Real Talk, Real Women is just a phenomenal project. And please know that anytime in the future, I would love to be a part of anything that you're doing. And we'll keep that women connection overseas.
It was great having you on the show, Steely. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Miriam.
Thank you. And thank you so much for watching. My name is Miriam Khalladi. For more inspiration, check out our website at realtalkrealwomen.com.